Well, that is quite a title. Omoikkiri Tanteidan Gumi, Matenrou no Chousenjou has the longest title in Japanese of any game we're going to see here. And I can't even really be sure who developed it. But I always licensed out development on their games, so it's very likely it was either Tosei or Human, but no one's come forward to claim responsibility for this one. Since it is a Bandai game, and there's pictures of real kids on the cover, you can tell pretty quickly that this is based on a television show. Omoikkiri Tanteidan Gumi was a children's adventure show that was part of Toei's Fushigi comedy series. And although the title means mysterious comedy, they weren't mystery shows until this season. Omoikkiri Tanteidan Gumi was about a bunch of elementary school students who created a monster named Matenrou. That's the guy in the gold mask. Their fictional monster came to life and challenged them to stop him, so the boys formed a detective club and had weekly adventures where they solved mysteries that Matenrou put in front of them. The Fushigi comedy series would run a full year from January to December, so this one wrapped up a few months before the game came out. The game Matenrou no Chousenjou has the players acting as a new member of the detective club, and you're tasked to getting to the bottom of Matenrou's latest scheme. But before you're allowed to do that, first you have to prove that you're a good detective. And that involves two tests. First, you have to watch the faces that come up here, and then mark them back in order. So it's a sequence of 8 that you'll have to remember. And then you have to catch roses that Matenrou throws from a balloon. Here you can move left and right and hit A to jump, but you won't be able to get from one side to the other fast enough to catch a rose. Doesn't mean that you shouldn't try. If you time everything exactly right, basically turning around the moment that you've caught a rose, then you might just barely be able to catch a close rose on the other side. Catch enough roses, and remember all of the faces, and then you're thrown back to the title screen. But this time when you start the game, then you begin the actual game. And this game is a side-scrolling action-adventure game. Hitting A jumps and B attacks, and you explore the town looking for clues. The town is divided up into 2 planes, a front street and a back street, plus additional sections like the school or the sewers, and more when you get further in the game than I did. You transition from the front to the back by going through buildings like the police station and the school. Omoikkiri Tanteidan Gumi is one of those adventure games where you basically have to feel out the exact path in the correct order. And even though some things should be accessible before you do that, they just won't work until you go to the correct place or talk to the right person, and then loop back around. You have several tools to aid in your investigation. You access these by pressing start, and then you can hit left and right to pick what you need. Some of the tools require batteries. That's the white bar below your health in the upper left. So you could use your slingshot all you like to get ranged attacks, but if you want to use the flashlight, then it consumes a battery. As a broad rule of thumb, you can have one weapon and one investigative tool active at any time. When the game starts, you leave the bomb shelter that acts as the club headquarters, and then you have to meet the priest at the temple. He'll tell you that Matenrou hid something nearby, and with the metal detector you'll find a card with holes cut into it. You take that back to the headquarters and read a note left behind by Matenrou, and with that card you cover up large portions of the message, and you can look for a hidden message within it. That message tells you he's headed into the sewers, which wouldn't have been accessible unless you found that. And in these sewers, you wander around until you find a passage where you find that the room is dark. But there's 2 dark rooms in the sewer, and you have to enter the correct one, otherwise it doesn't work. Once you've found out that the correct room is dark, then you have to go back to the bomb shelter, where you're told that you need a flashlight, and then you go to the police, who tell you that some of the guys in orange jumpsuits have flashlights, and then you beat them up until you get that flashlight. You can see how this game tends to send you in circles a lot. With the flashlight, you can begin navigating that dark room and doing some truly atrocious platforming. Your jump is amazingly stiff and doesn't go as high as you think it should. And you're jumping in the dark at landing points that aren't always visible. And if you screw up, there's a good chance that you will wind up in a situation that you can't get out of. You only have one life in this game, but you can continue as many times as you like, though it does cost you batteries. The dark room is as far as I made it in the game. I had to pause a lot and watch some videos of people playing to get an idea of exactly the right step to take next. It seems like a lot of fans of old games in Japan have memories of playing Omoikkiri Tanteidan Gumi, though I found one common thread among almost all of the comments. Nobody seems to have been able to beat the game when they were a kid. Some of the later steps to progress in the game are even more obscure than the things I did already. In fact, some of those Japanese players seem a bit bitter about that. While I can't say I had a lot of fun playing this one, I do think it's kind of interesting in how it tries to ram an adventure game structure onto an action game. Okay, most of that consists of either talking to the right person, or using one of your tools in the correct spot, but it's still an interesting attempt. This is one of those games that's more ambitious than good. But considering how unambitious a lot of the licensed games have been, I can't be too hard on it for that.